Remote, frozen, and dark as night for 6 months, Antarctica is not what many life forms consider prime real estate. Yet even here, life finds a way. Penguins, seals, and a host of crustaceans, algae, and more call the South Pole and its surrounding lands and waters home. But apart from these natives, could outside species move to Antarctica? If they could they survive, thrive, overwhelm and threaten native species? Well, that's what we're here to discuss. So grab your gloves and earmuffs as we head south to Antarctica and look at its relationship with invasive species. Impregnable. The continent of Antarctica is so far from any other place, it seems like a world all of its own. But it wasn't always that way. Between 530 million years ago, during the Ediacaran period, the continents we know today were part of a single landmass called Gondwana. The region that would later form Antarctica was positioned along the equator, meaning the place had a warm tropical climate and even lush jungles for the next few 100 million years. However, thanks to tectonic plate activity, the continents broke off between 180 and 140 million years ago, with the landmasses that would later form Australia and Antarctica drifting further south than the others. About 53 million years ago, Antarctica broke off from Australia, which opened up the Tasmanian Passage. Then, 23 million years later, the Drake Passage was formed between Antarctica and South America. These two South Sea passages facilitated the creation of the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, ACC, around the continent. This current is the biggest ocean current on Earth, and it blocks warmer waters from passing, which keeps the waters around Antarctica at ultra-cold levels. The ACC current and the lower carbon dioxide in the Antarctic atmosphere caused by diminishing plant and animal life resulted in the formation of polar ice caps. Further loss of atmospheric carbon dioxide allowed this ice to spread rapidly and form the icy landmass we know today. In most natural circumstances, reaching Antarctica is a tall order. Even powerful swimmers like humpback whales must exert all their might to swim through the current. Floating organisms have virtually zero chance of breaching the ACC. Another natural barrier for many would-be invaders is the ice on and around the continent's coastline. Some of the sea icebergs are as large as ships, and some of the smaller ones can form labyrinths that are cumbersome to navigate. Even worse than navigating the ice would be braving the icy waters. Very few life forms can withstand the below-freezing temperatures near the surface, let alone thrive and establish populations. The most effective way for outside organisms to cross the ACC and reach the Antarctic coast naturally is through randomly formed kelp rafts drifting towards the continent, or hitching a ride on a swimming host the way barnacles latch onto whales. New inroads. With that said, could invaders benefit from unnatural circumstances? Well, yes. Human activity can play a massive role in introducing new species to this relatively isolated world, even if the humans in question have no idea of what's happening. How, you ask? Our boats, for starters. These days, as many as 200 boats and ships venture to and from Antarctica every year. Vessels to Antarctica typically set off from 5 of the world's most southern ports: Cape Town, South Africa; Christchurch, New Zealand; Hobart, Australia; Punta Arenas, Chile; and Ushuaia, Argentina. Most of these voyages are for tourism, with over 50,000 visitors landing on the continent annually. A few other fishing boats also roam the South Sea in search of rare species. However, the boats that explore Antarctica the most belong to the many research teams studying this frozen world. At present, there are 77 research stations used by scientists from all over the world. Researchers study everything from the nesting habits of emperor penguins to the structure and depth of Antarctica's underwater lakes. Others even study the impacts of increased human activity on the continent. In 2021, a research team led by Arlie McCarthy from the British Antarctic Survey released a study that explored how increased boat traffic and increasing temperatures could invite new marine life to a part of the world without any established invasive species. Different kinds of animals and seaweeds can be transported willfully and unintentionally. Some could be transported aboard the boats, hidden away in some crevice or nook. Others can even latch onto hulls or get caught among propellers. Small crabs can easily hide behind objects on deck, while barnacles and algae can stick to some hulls. Of course, being transported to Antarctica is only part of the issue. Any would-be invader would need to endure the cold or simply die. However, the cold may not be a permanent state of affairs. Climate change is at hand, and human activities are a notable contributing factor. With global temperatures on the rise, Antarctica is also following suit, and that could cause problems. Even an increase of 1 degree Celsius can make a lot of difference, especially in marine ecosystems. An increase in temperature may make the environment uncomfortable for some native species, but more worryingly, it may make that environment friendlier to outsiders. So, the warmer the waters of the South Sea get, the more invasive species can survive, thrive, and even dominate ecosystems at the expense of native life. According to McCarthy's study, extensive analysis of hulls and pipes of ships that voyage to Antarctica has revealed that many of them carry barnacles, mussels, crabs, amphipods, bryozoa, and seaweeds. Further examination of these ships' routes led to the conclusion that most of these life forms were picked up in the southern waters of South America, the Western Pacific, and Northern Europe. Only a handful of foreign animals have been found living freely in Antarctic ecosystems. Chilean mussels and king crabs have been found in the area, and scientists are worried about what this means for the future. The Chilean mussels could outcompete local mussel varieties and facilitate the arrival of more invasive species, while crabs could be a new predator that wipes out all sorts of local invertebrates. However, for now, these creatures don't have established populations, so there may be time for solutions. But how can this problem be solved? Well, through collaboration. No one country owns or rules Antarctica, so the duty to protect its natural ecosystems falls on the whole world. McCarthy suggests that the main destination ports that send ships off to Antarctica must implement a variety of checks to minimize the transportation of invasive species. Hulls and decks can be inspected for cleanliness before the boats are permitted to set off. The boats themselves could have their hulls repainted or coated in special non-stick materials to protect against unwanted hitchhikers. An increasing number of places like Hawaii and Australia are becoming strict about ship hulls and their potential to carry non-native species. Of course, enacting and then enforcing these measures could prove extremely difficult. Instead of undergoing expensive recoatings and jumping through administrative hoops at a major departure port, some captains and boat owners may opt for minor departure ports with less hassle. What is an invasive species? An invasive species is a non-native species introduced to a new environment that goes on to harm that environment. This harm ranges from out-hunting local predators, overhunting local prey populations, habitat destruction, hybridization, spreading disease, disrupting farming or industrial ventures, land degradation, and generally overstraining resources. In today's case, an invasive species is any life form that would disrupt the normal functioning of Antarctic ecosystems. This means anything that would increase resource competition or physically harm or kill life forms native to Antarctica. Invasive species are usually stronger, smarter, more fertile, or more hardy than local animals, which makes getting rid of them very difficult. Many times, by the time an invasive species is under control, it would have caused irreparable damage to local ecosystems. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Thanks a bunch for watching until the end, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Are you worried about Antarctica's future? Do you think humanity can work together to save its natural ecosystems? We also hope you'll take the time to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, but it goes a long way towards growing the channel. You should also hit the bell icon to stay up to date with future uploads. With all that out of the way, we'd like to say thanks again and see you next time.